So hey, I probably should have pulled that blind. Will it adjust? Yeah, it'll adjust if I move it out of the way. That's the bird feeder where dumbass the squirrel eats. But as long as that's like that, it's going to be this bright light behind me. So I'm going to pull that down. Hold on. No, I'm not wearing a skirt today. Like I said yesterday, I developed a habit years ago of get up, put a dress, get up, put a bra on, put a shirt on, and pull a skirt on because I hate pants. So then I can wander around the house almost pantless. That's the purpose of the skirt. I hate skirts. I don't go out in public in skirts hardly at all. Like maybe once every 2 to 4 years. But I wear them around the house constantly because I hate pants. If the curtains are all closed, I run around with no pants on half the time, which gets awkward if UPS knocks on the door. Anyway, so I thought I'd show you where I'm at on a couple of things, and I am carving up a pumpkin for pumpkin butter. One of the things, okay, by the time you hit 20, you should know that there were a lot of lies told to you when you were a kid. By the time you hit about 35, you should realize that a large number of things that people say as facts aren't. About the time you hit 50, you start wondering what the fuck, everything is wrong. One of the common things that gets said everywhere and all the time is that American jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, these big old guys, aren't good for eating. They're not eating pumpkins. They're not pie pumpkins. They're not sweet pumpkins. They're not good for eating. They're too watery. That's bullshit. They're just fine for eating. If you cut that into small cubes and dry roast it with some seasonings, it's yummy. If you cook it into a mash, it's going to be a little watery. Cook it longer. Put some cream sauce in it. I use it to make pumpkin butter. If you're the kind of person who uses a juicer regularly, my juicer's right here, right there. If you're the kind of person who uses a juicer regularly, juice the pumpkin. There's so many things you can do with it, and people just throw them away. And the whole reason society started saying they're not good for eating is to, probably in the 60s to the 70s, give themselves permission to not feel guilty about carving up a pumpkin and it being disposable. Because coming off of the Depression, coming off of the war, the generation previous to the boomers didn't like wasting anything, and here's this pumpkin being carved just for the sake of pretty. So anyway, they're perfectly edible, okay? If you like pickles, cut them into pickle sizes, into moderate pieces, okay? Pack the jar as tight as you can get it. Then make a hot brine, as if you would for dill pickles. Google it. It's vinegar and some dill and some garlic and some other odds and ends. Find a brining recipe for making refrigerator pickles. And make refrigerator pickles out of the pumpkin. Now, if you like pickles, understand that these are a fresh pickle. They are not a storage pickle because they develop sapicins, which means they develop soap. Takes about 3 to 6 weeks and they start tasting off, and about 6 weeks later they're not really edible. So this is something you make and you eat. Okay, fresh pickles. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this sucker up in a minute, but I thought I would start by showing where I'm at on the hand warmers that I thought I was gonna make. I don't like how they turned out. I haven't sewn them together, but I don't like how they turned out, so I'm gonna make different hand warmers. But this is my favorite pattern for a hand warmer. Okay, this is that yarn. Okay, now to make a hand warmer, you take it on the top of your hand and you grab a hold with your thumb and your finger, and then you wrap, okay? And I always mess that up. You wrap. Now, you sew this seam tight. You sew this seam tight all the way to the thumb. Camera angles and I are not a good friend, okay? And then you put this over and you sew this seam. And now you have a hand warmer that's warmer on top, and your thumb while being separated, because that's sewn there, is also covered, which to me is important. And you can pull it forward and keep your fingers warm, or you can pull it down to right about there and be able to use your hands. That's my favorite hand warmer pattern. This particular one, because of the way the yarns are, I get gray and blue. Can you see? Yeah, you can see this blue. I get gray and blue here. And then this one still has a string attached because I haven't finished. There's more yarn left on this one. But I get, nope, wrong way, that way. Over the top, I get blue and gray. So the color combo isn't that different, and they look okay, but it's heavier than I was wanting. I guess that's the reason. I played around with them, did a loose whip stitch on the one and wore it around for half a day, and I just didn't like it. These are the panels I'm doing for the sweater, although they might become a blanket. I haven't decided for certain. But again, that's the same exact pattern that I use to make a hand warmer, and to show you the difference in a lighter stitch. See that wrap and stitch? That looks better to me than the big bulky did. Okay, so I like that much better. I don't know that I'll make hand warmers out of these because, like I said, I'm in the process of making a sweater, and I'm in the process of too many things. But anyway, that's how I make a hand warmer. Hold it right here, pinch, bring this over, sew that seam right there, because now you have the measure for where that seam is. Then bring this over and sew the seam again. Okay, does that make sense? And then you have double width on the back of your hand, but not on the front of your hand. And you can bring your fingers in, because it'll pull forward like this, and be warm. Anyway, that's hand warmers. I've been doing a lot of fiber dyeing. I forgot one of them. These are all the walnuts that I did when I was talking about walnuts. This is one that I crocheted up to see how it would crochet up. Can you see the two different colors? Yeah, you can see the two different colors. So that's walnut. And then haha! These are all from that same dye pot. Okay, these are the first two to come out of the dye pot. So you get the reds first. There were two more. He has one of them. He took it to as a show and tell. And that's the brighter color. So these were the first three in stages. Okay, so you get those red, yellow, or those red oranges first, and then the color starts to mute as time goes on. Now, this is an iron mordant. That's what gives you that darker color. This is a partially iron mordanted one because I wanted calico. This is an iron mordant. And that's an iron mordant. And then these camel tans are not green. I don't know why it's showing green. And my phone is giving me a message. Anyway, these camel tans are the more traditional. There's no green in this. The camera, I don't know why it's showing. I need to touch that. Let's see how that works. Yes, it went away. I don't know why it's showing as green except for a reflection off of other stuff. Anyway, that's my walnuts. And these two came out way too light. They came out even lighter than those. They came out lighter than this. So I overdyed them with green food coloring because I was doing a green dye pot for something else. Anyway, so then this is a mushroom called Dead Man's Foot. That's no mordant, alum, iron, tin iron, copper. And then these down here are the canvas samples with the various mordants. And as you can see, no mordant is much paler than any mordant. And the copper has the orangiest color. So that's how I do my, I have the husband write them out, but that's how I do my labels. So if you come across dyeable mushrooms, I want them. This is our yard mushroom. These three are no mordant at different periods in the dye batch. There, that's a good angle. Okay, so as I'm exhausting the dye batch, obviously there was still lots of yellow in the dye batch. Okay, this is iron. No, this is alum. This is iron, because you can tell from the feel. Iron makes the yarn scritchy. This is tin and iron, and this is copper. And these colors, any alum or any mordant is pretty much these colors. The iron has a slightly different look to it, but no mordant was just as good. Anyway, that was a yard mushroom, just a random mushroom that was growing in the yard that I threw into. You pick the mushroom, you chop the mushroom up. 70% of mushrooms are good in ammonia. Probably 70%. The other 30% should just be a hot water bath. There's a few minor ones that like alcohol for extract. Anyway, I chop them up. I put them in a jar. I put in a cup of ammonia, and then I top the jar up with water, and then I let it set for 3 to 6 weeks. And then I pour off the dye bath, and I put the mushroom back into the jar with a new cup of ammonia with some more water, and there's usually 2 or 3 batches worth of dye in there. I like this color. So I'm hoping, and I like this color, I'm hoping to get more. Yeah, I have 5 jars of yard mushrooms going right now. 5. One of them made a really nice almost black, but it wasn't color fast. It faded within days. So we'll see. That's where I'm at on that stuff. I have a to-do list and a to-do list. I'm going to read off the to-do lists. Okay, so I'm going to be off camera, but you'll hear me. On the refrigerator, the use it before you lose it. Number 1 is make pumpkin butter, because that sucker was bought before, that's unflattering, was bought before Halloween. Then I have some chestnuts that we picked up that need to be eaten. Then I have carrots, cranberries, butternut squash, yam, garlic, and some roasted garlic. I'm going to make a roasted garlic dip today. That'll be part of my thing. Now I'm going to step off camera. On the to-do list over here, prune blackberries, clean out the comfrey and weeds from the side bed. Trying to do these in order. Prune the apples and the plum trees, save out the usable wood and the lichen. I also have a bag of lichen in the back that we picked up after the windstorm, and it says sort the lichen and jar. Then I have relid the busted Gamma Seal buckets. The kitchen faucet has resistance when panning to the left. Michael checked it, but needs to get under the crawl space. I need a computer desk in my room so that I can have a computer in my room, and I need a second chair, and I need a computer. Michael needs to put away everything that he took out on the living room floor. We are going to have a test butane and fuel stoves day on next Saturday. We're going to pull out all of our little stoves and test them all. My sauerkraut jar needs to be cleaned out. And I need some help stripping the inside of one of the cupboards. I need help stripping the liner out of. And I need to process some rose hips, because I harvested all the rose hips. That's my list. I find other things to add to my list as I go along. I'm spinning a white merino yarn, or fiber. I don't like, it's too slick. I mean, it's annoying me. It's not my favorite. This particular merino is not my favorite yarn to spin. When I'm finished with that, I'm going to spin up the merino I dyed with blackberries back in May, which has not faded yet. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Oh. Okay. Blackberry is a fugitive dye. Don't dye with blackberry. It's a fugitive dye. It'll fade. This has been hanging in a window with sunlight every single day since May. Okay? It has not faded. There is a hint of it trying to fade right here and right there. Now mind you, this fiber was mordanted with alum. I do not like mordanting fiber with alum. It makes it, okay, right there's a hint of fading starting. Now if you can see that color, that's the color I want this to turn, because BlackBerry fades to a blue tone, and I want this to be blue, okay? I'm going to try to pull this knot and see if we can see a fade difference from the skein. You can sit there. Okay, this is the skein. Can we see fading in the skein? Not really. It's pretty much the same as when it dyed. The inside of the skein is the same color as the outside. You know, this would be darker here than here, and it's really not. I mean, there's a faint difference, but you have to be looking for it. And like I said, BlackBerry fades to, right there's a patch that's trying. It fades to a blue-gray. And what I want is the blue-gray color. So I'm still waiting. Anyway, it's a nice merino. It's soft. It's gushy. So that's what I'm going to spin next. But like I said, I don't like mordanting with alum because it's just, I'm not going to say crunchy, but it's pretty damn close to crunchy in places. Iron makes your fiber brittle. Alum makes your fiber sticky. Anyway, when people talk about fugitive dyes, you need to get them to explain what they think the fugitive property of that dye is. Because everything I've been able to find in historical references says that BlackBerry will fade in direct sunlight in a season. And you'll be able to tell the difference between start of season and end of season. There's fugitive dyes that fade in 2 hours of sunlight. Saffron. You dye something with saffron, it's brilliant and yellow. You take it out in the sunlight, you get like 22 minutes. Okay, then you're going to start seeing fade. So saying something's a fugitive dye and something being a fugitive dye, if it lasts more than a season, I consider it a good dye. If its fade out color is a color I want, I consider it a good dye. Okay? Anyway, that's my... I may wait and let the husband chop this sucker up because... wrong knife. Totally ruined that. Me and knives. Yeah, I may wait. Mind you, I've only cut myself badly once in the last 5 years. But stitches in the emergency room and all of that, and when you're home alone and you don't drive. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. Better part of valor. I've been talking 18 whole minutes about dyes. Oops. Oops. So what else to talk about? Got most of my, well, of the cast iron we have found, which is, you can't see it from here and I'm not going to pick it up and carry it. I found 1 cast iron skillet, 2 skookies, which are miniature cookie pans, and 1 square omelet pan. And 1 bacon press or grill press, but not a pan to use the grill press in. That's my cast iron that's been found so far. Somebody asked me why when I panned the garbage yesterday you could see a aluminum foil pan in the garbage. It's because I haven't found the box with most of my baking gear. And as much as I want to be using metal and glass, I don't have it. I have a couple of pans and that's it, but not enough. And we do freezer baking, which means that I have to have metal pans to put in the freezer. And the aluminum ones are 27 to 57 cents each. And spend $3 having enough to do a meal or a setup, you know, bunch of meals. And the aluminum that goes over top is going to go in the garbage anyway because it doesn't wash. Can it be washed? Vaguely. We don't have a dishwasher though, so you're talking hand scrubbing and it's not going to get washed. We go to the thrift store every weekend. Every weekend we have a couple of thrift stores we hit, looking for things like baking pans. And if I find one, I buy it. Or my knives that I like. And there's a couple of other things that we're short on. I'm not going to go to Target or Walmart or Macy's or any kind of Bed Bath & Beyond kitchen store thing and buy new baking pans when I know damn well there's 5 boxes, 3 households of baking stuff in that room over there somewhere unlabeled. And we'll get to the boxes eventually. So I'm using aluminum until we get to them because I think that that is the least damaging option. Somebody else made a comment about why don't we just pull out all of the boxes and go through them, open them up and see what's in each box and label them, and then put them back if we don't need it right away. Okay. It's an entire room, full to the ceiling, the entire room. To take out each box and look at it, you have to get to the back of the room, you have to empty the room. We don't have a room to empty the room into, first. Second, my husband is the reason we have so much stuff. And should he open the box, he will find something that must come out of the box now, regardless of whether there's a place to put it. Chaos will ensue. It will be traumatic. Right now, I have mounds and piles in places. Right now, I don't have enough places to put things as we're going through things. No, we're not opening the boxes to find what's in the boxes. We will spend a month going through and putting away and finding homes for the 7 to 10 boxes that we empty each week. And once we get a control on things, and like right now you can sit at the dinner area and eat, once we have control of things, then we'll pull out 5 or 6 more boxes. We're not opening book boxes. Anything that is heavy enough to be a book box, we're not opening. We're working through it slowly. And we're finding so many things that... No, it's not Goodwill stuff. It's really not Goodwill stuff. It's if not cherished family heirlooms, they will be cherished family heirlooms going forward. It's... Yeah, every 5th box is a box of crap. But 3 out of 5 boxes are, oh my god, this is so amazing. This is so fun. This is so cool. So, we're getting there. It'll be a couple years. It really will. We're working on it. The priority right now is to get what's unboxed now fixed. One of the big issues is we need bookcases. Not just for books. We need bookcases for all the little-ish. And the bookcases aren't here. And I don't want to buy bookcases when I know we have bookcases. But we will probably buy some bookcases. And it annoys me to no end that I can't go buy the boards and make bookcases cheaper than I can buy bookcases. I should be able to make homemade bookcases cheaper than IKEA or Walmart, and I can't. So that annoys me. The priorities are to get the garden room more functional, the garden and dining room more functional. And the priorities are to get a section of the garage more functional so that we can start getting the woodworking equipment going. Let me grab something. So, this is the kind of stuff that acquaintances will say, well, why don't you just throw that out? That's a solid block of walnut with a really nice pattern. Okay, it's a solid block of walnut, aged, perfect walnut. These are walnut tiles, okay? Now, they can become gun grips. Okay, that's a matched set there. There's 2 matched sets. Let me see. These 2. So this 2, nope. Yep. They have a way they go. Okay. This two and this two are match sets. This two and this two. This is an extra, and this is a reject. But this is walnut, okay? So I'm going to, and it's thick enough, I'm going to carve a necklace, freeform necklace pendant. Okay, same with the extra one, this one, which is the extra one. This one, which shows the value better. Okay, so it's a good thickness, it's a solid grain, it's walnut. This could be 2 earrings easily. Cut, cut, sand, 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 put a hole under, sand, sand, sand. It's done. 2 earrings. And a pendant, same thing. This wood, if you bought it at a fine wood place, is expensive. I don't smoke. I don't smoke anything. But tell me, that wouldn't make a cool, curl the edges, you know, sand this down, sand that down, round it basically, round it off, drill it out. The hole would go right there because that's where that's the natural hole it's going to make. Okay, and you have a neat little bottom handle pipe. Tell me that wouldn't make a cool pipe. Okay, that's 2 afternoons for me once I have equipment to work on. The earrings and the pendant are a couple hours once I have the equipment to work on. We have boxes and boxes. We have a wood shop in there. Okay, we have about 1/8 of the volume in the garage is wood shop. This is ready to get set up. It's just it needs space. So that's a priority. We're working on it. It's hard when you understand how much he works, that he's not here, and when he is here, he's tired. But we're getting there, and we're moving forward slowly. Anyway, I've been talking a long time. And I'm tired, and standing hurts, but standing is preferable to sitting there and getting that body going that just drives me nuts. I mean, this drives me enough nuts, but anyway. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.